Well, hello there. My name is Teresa Micheletti, and this site is called Take What Rings True. Now, the problem is that Facebook's not working today. I'm sure hoping that YouTube is working today. So, today I want to talk about entities. I learned about entities by going to trance classes where my friend Sylvia Brown would displace herself. She would go into a meditative state and go sit on a bench on the other side, not remember anything. And one of her spirit guides, either Rahim or Francine, would come in and talk to us. And one thing they talked to us about was entities. Now, Webster describes entities as beings. So entities in spiritual terms can be gray, they can be black or white, light or dark. This is not the color of somebody's skin. This is the sense of their soul. So, entities. At the time of creation, some people decided to accept the light of God, our creator. And if you don't believe in those words, then replace it with source, with universe, whatever you believe in. So, at the beginning of creation, some people decided to accept God's light, and they're called light entities or white entities. They're filled with white light, the light of God. And then there are some who decided, I don't want to accept the light of God. I have my own free will and I'm going to go do my own thing. And they're called dark entities because they did not accept that light. Then they're the fence sitters, the ones who decided, I can't decide. So because they can't decide, then they're called gray entities because sometimes they act like they're a white light and sometimes they act like they are a dark entity. So, gray entities. Gray entities can be so exasperating because, well, let me go back to light entities first. Okay, light entities accept the light of God. They are trying to be a good person. They come to earth to learn things and to face obstacles. And then we have the dark entities who negated the light of God, come with a flowering face, so they can be very charming, and then they can't hold that very long. So, because they can't hold it very long, then that will drop. They're the ones who are the narcissists, they're the ones who try to control people. Not that everyone who tries to control people are dark entities, but often they are the people who never take responsibility. It's not their fault, it's always your fault, no matter what they did. They're the ones who make you feel sick sometimes. Like you walk into a room or they walk into a room and you just have your energy drops. You can get a stomach ache, you can get a headache just from being around them. Um, Sometimes they're considered energy vampires. Now, not all people who drop your energy are dark entities because they can just be at a low vibration. People who are on drugs or alcoholics have a very low vibration and they can attract dark entities. So if you live with someone or visit someone who's an alcoholic or a drug addict, then dark entities will often come to them and be around them because there's such low vibration. Gray entities, on the other hand, sometimes they act like they're a white light and, just fill your space with white light, make you feel good, make you feel wonderful. And then at other times, gray entities will stab you in the back for no reason. It's like, what in the world? Why are you doing this to me? Why did you say that? Why did you create that situation? Why did you not do what you said you were going to do. Now, everybody who doesn't do what they said they're going to do are not gray or dark, because people have written in their chart, perfectly wonderful people have written in their chart, okay, you said you wanted to go bankrupt, and yeah, I'll create that for you. And they could be your best friend on the other side. So, entities. Sometimes it's hard to figure out, but when you first meet someone, if you have the feeling to beware of them, most likely they are a dark entity. If you are, if you have pets or small children, and the pet or the small child does not like somebody, I would pay attention, because most likely they are gray or dark, and be aware that you might want to watch out for them. Because remember, dark entities will come charmingly at first. They can be charming, they can come with a flowering face, they can entice people into their circle. I was engaged to one, and he was charming at first. And then once he had me in his clutches, in his circle, he tried to control my life and made my life miserable and made my life unhappy. And that's what dark entities do. They like to be negative. They're not going to be listening to this audio. They could care less. If you're worried about being a dark entity, don't, because you would not be listening to this. So, if you have someone in your midst who's a dark entity, just know that you can stay away from them. You don't have to be around them. If they're your child, well, you have to raise them to 18 or 16 or whatever in your state. Um, but you don't have to be next to them the rest of your life. You can ask to be invisible to dark entities. So you can say, I would like to be invisible to this person unless I need to interact with them. If it's written into my chart, I need to interact with them for some reason, then fine, bring them on. But if not, then let me be invisible to them on that day, because you have to do every day. This is Earth. You have to replenish your requests most every day. So that person who was a relative of mine, who was a dark entity, if I would walk into the house or he would walk into the house, he didn't even see me. Or if he did, he didn't pay attention to me. He just would walk through the room as if I wasn't there. A friend of mine, I told a friend of mine about this because somebody was coming on to her, wouldn't leave her alone, sort of stalking her. And she asked to be invisible to him. And the next day we were sitting at a big round table talking at lunch, and he ignored her completely, like she wasn't even there. And the day before, he would not let her alone. So asking to be invisible helps. The only codicil, you need to be careful, because when I've done this, then automatic doors at the stores won't open, signal lights won't change. So be aware. So when you ask to be invisible, do the codicil. I want my car to be totally invisible. I mean, I want my car to be totally visible, not invisible, totally visible, so that people are aware that I'm there, and the signal will change. Otherwise, you have to wait for somebody to come behind you or next to you for the signal to change. Okay, so light entities, white entities. That's most everyone I know. Gray entities come so sweetly, can be just so nice, and they're the ones who stab you in the back for no reason and act just horribly. And then the next day, they're just fine. So they're hard to live with because sometimes they're dark and sometimes they're light. And remember, this is not a person's skin, this is a person's soul, and it's their choice. Our Creator allowed free will. We were all created in the mind of God, I believe, our Creator. And then when we were formed into a being, then an entity, then some people chose to accept God's light, and some people chose to negate God's light. And if they negated it, then they're called dark entities. And at the end of this schematic, the time period where we are incarnating, God, our creator, will absorb them back into the Godhead. The dark entities all get absorbed back. And then they'll have a chance to come out again and be created again in form and see if they can accept the light that time. So, gray entities. If you know you're amongst them, then just beware. Dark entities, try to stay away from them unless you need to. If they're your mom, your dad, you may have to take care of them or do things with them. But just be aware, just because you were created or you were born into a family, our creators are our true parents. And don't feel guilty if you have a yucky dad or a yucky mom or a yucky uncle or aunt or cousin that is just atrocious. And you know they're a dark entity. They can hold that sweet kindness around them at the very beginning, and then it drops after a while because they can't hold the fake light. So just know that there are three different kinds of entities: dark, light, gray. So I'm sure that you are not dark. So don't worry about that. But do be aware it would be advantageous for you to keep your vibration up. It's good for you to keep your vibration up anyway because it makes your life easier. You get dark entities coming around you if your vibration is lower. So just think of raising your vibration. I have some meditations on peace of mind meditations in Learn It Live or Wellness Universe that help you raise your vibration. Maybe I'll do that next week. Maybe I'll do a meditation on raising your vibration for Take What Rings True. Okay, so keep your vibration up. Try to stay away from areas where people are living as addicts or alcoholics, because it brings their vibration down and allows dark entities to come around because they're not holding their vibration up. So, dark entities, light entities, gray entities. Think about your relatives, your friends, who around you might be a dark entity, who around you might be a gray entity. Now, I get cranky. I will yell at people at times. Just because we're cranky doesn't mean we're dark. Just because we're cranky doesn't mean we're gray. However, just be aware. And especially if a child does not like somebody, if an animal, your pet, does not like somebody, be aware. Remember, dark entities can hold a flowering face. They can be charming. But if you feel a stomach ache when you're around somebody, you feel a headache when you're around somebody, then I would be aware of them because that's also a signal of dark entities or gray entities that are acting dark. So they're keeping their vibration low. And when their vibration is low, you feel the absence of the light. And when you feel the absence of the light, then it can make you feel weird. So I wish you a wonderful week. And hopefully this actually recorded this time and I can transfer it to Facebook also. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you have dark entities around you, because sometimes dark entities will attach to people, like they'll just like be a Klingon on their aura. And if you feel that you have a dark entity attached to you, I can help you get that off. So blessings, blessings, blessings. And I hope to see you next week, and I will do a meditation to raise your vibration. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.